Dustin, congratulations on another big victory for you. Talk about kind of what this moment meant to you. I mean, a huge fight that looks like it should propel you into a championship fight. It was a rivalry fight at that. So what does this night mean to you?
It means a lot to me, man. This was another long camp. I started this camp injured, obviously. Coming off the Gaethje fight, I had a torn quad and a strained MCL. I put on a little bit more weight between fights than I wanted to because I couldn't run. I'm a guy who runs a lot, and even when I'm out of camp, I run. And I couldn't run for like probably 6 weeks, 5 weeks. My leg was too damaged, so I just hit the gym and kind of put on a couple extra pounds. So this was actually a really tough cut for me to make 55 this time. But it feels incredible, man. I know that I have the potential to be the best in the world. I cut no corners. I learn from my mistakes and my success. I put everything into this, and it just feels good to come out here and get another win against arguably one of the best lightweights to ever fight mixed martial arts. It's not that I ever doubt myself or anything, but this is fighting, man. You go out there, this is the theater of the unknown. Anything can happen no matter how prepared you are. So that, those nerves and feelings are always around for me. But besides that, I know I'm better than these guys, man.
You mentioned how incredibly relaxed you were. It definitely showed in your performance. I wonder, when you got in the cage, you walked right over to Dana, and before the fight started, and you said something to him. I was curious what you said to him.
No, I was talking to my wife. She was sitting behind him. I was letting her know. She looked more nervous than me. I said, "It's gonna be all right, babe. It's gonna be okay."
Fantastic. Talk about the way the fight was playing out, because the first round was close, a little bit of back and forth, and then the second round you kind of made a couple decisions to go for guillotines that didn't pay off. I mean, give me an idea just how you thought the fight was playing out.
In camp I was killing it with the guillotine. It's something I don't ever chase because I don't like to give up position, but I felt like I turned the corner somewhere in my jiu-jitsu, and I've just been hitting a lot of guillotines, man, putting guys out in the gym, like just really confident in it. And but Eddie's an old dog that knows every trick, and the first one was really close. My hand started slipping. He had an arm in that stopped me from locking my legs and stretching my body the position I wanted to. But that's why I gave up though, and because my wrestling's underrated, man. I can scramble back up and get up under anybody, I feel like, and I wasn't scared to give up position, jumping guillotines. I would get back up and that would tire him out. I have incredible cardio too, nobody knows. But the fight started off slow. I thought it started off a little bit slow. I thought Eddie was going to try to rush me and put me against the fence, throw big overhands and close the distance very quick. He did it. He kind of kickboxed with me in the middle of the cage, and that's what I thought he wouldn't do. So I was a little surprised there. But yeah, second round we got to fighting.
The 12-6 elbow. Let me ask you, is it frustrating? Because obviously, it's a weird rule that most people don't even really like, but it is a rule. You definitely threw the 12-6. But is it frustrating for you at all to think, now people are going to point to that again and say, well, the fight changed because of that?
Yeah, people are always going to point to something. These checks are going to cash, and I have another win on my record, and another step closer to fight for a world title. So they can point and say that they won. I'm laughing all the way to the bank and all the way back home to my family with another win that I earned. Nothing's been given, and that's that, man. But during the fight, when the ref came over, I don't know, Eddie tapped me on the chest or on the face. He did that right after the elbow because I told the ref, I said, no, when the ref said, hey, stop, that's illegal, or whatever he said, I said, no, it didn't land, I'm fine. I said that, and Eddie's like, I told him, I said, I'm good. And then the ref came up to me in the corner when he stood us up and he said, that was an illegal strike and I'm taking the position away from Eddie. Man, it's out of my hands, man. Whether he did it on purpose, but that one didn't hurt me. I let them know, I'm fine, no, it didn't even land. It landed on my neck or my shoulder, I'm good.
It looked like you talked to your corner right after that too. What were you saying to your corner?
Mike Brown told me to stop jumping guillotines and I told him, F you.
And last thing for me, Dustin, it looks like obviously the Conor Khabib fight is going to be next, and you said, hey, I'll sit around and wait for that, I'll take the winner. Well, let me ask you, what do you do from here? Do you keep yourself in shape? Do you keep yourself ready? It sounds like maybe that fight might be in October. Do you stay ready in case something happens to one of them, or do you take vacation? Well, give me the idea of the plan.
Man. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. We got to see the time frame. This is a crazy, crazy sport. It might be two completely different guys fighting for that title in October. You never know. This last year has been insane. But hopefully that fight comes together. And I don't plan on taking long. I'm not taking a year off. You know, I'm hitting my stride right now. I'm in my prime, feeling the best I've ever felt. And I want to keep growing on this. So I do want a title shot. I feel like I've earned it. I'm next. I paid my dues year after year in this gritty game. But we'll see. I don't know the time frame.
Dustin, congrats. You're obviously performing, phenomenally right now in the lightweight division. 4 bonuses in your last 5 fights. You got another one tonight, and the one fight you didn't get in was the first fight with Eddie, which was probably going to be, fight of the night or something like that if it didn't end the way it did. Do you regret not fighting in this weight class earlier and doing what you did at featherweight?
It's tough to say because I learned a lot of lessons there, and my first fight at featherweight, in my career at featherweight, I fought the #1 contender. Aldo got hurt. They called me to fill in to get beat, probably. You know what I mean? Upset the #1 guy, Josh Crispy at the time. So I just rolled with it. I fought at 170 and 155 before that. I fought twice in the WC at 155. But I just started getting older, getting more dense, getting more heavy, just from age and working out. I never really lifted weights at the beginning of my career. Got with a good camp at American Top Team and started lifting weights and doing strength and conditioning, making it a part of my fight training. And then I just naturally put on weight over time. And then just 45 was tough, man. 55 is not easy. This was a tough cut for me.
When you're going through that finishing sequence with Eddie, and you're, putting it all out there, just throwing all types of strikes, and he's, loading up and trying to get you, what's kind of going with your mind? Because that's what we know Eddie is. He's in those situations. He's come back many times. So where are you trying to kind of put your offense there to not overcommit and get caught?
I'm having deja vu. The guy's wobbling and looking at somewhere else, not looking at me, just like in the first fight. And it was just a weird feeling to have him hurt against the fence, very similar to how the first fight went. And that's, he really didn't hit me good, didn't land any good shots on me in that first fight until I had him hurt. And then it happened again, so I tried to be a little bit more safe, but I still went in there to take him out. I knew I had him hurt, and I thought there was short time. I'm not sure how much time there was left, but I knew when my back was against the fence and I was trying to build up. I think I saw 2 minutes on the clock when I looked up, and I thought it was short time, so I didn't want him to recover.
Dana White said yesterday that when they're looking to book this Conor and Khabib fight, they're probably going to put Tony Ferguson on the card, and a lot of people online are saying, that's the fight to make, put Dustin against Tony on the same card, all makes sense for the lightweight division. Is that something you would even consider, or too soon to tell?
It's too soon to tell. If Dana calls me and we make a deal for the fight, maybe. I don't know. I'm the best in the world, man. I can beat all these guys.
Dustin, afterward, when you guys were in the center of the octagon, you and Eddie were having a little bit of a conversation, and then you and Mark Henry started to get a little bit of a conversation. What happened after that?
I was in the heat of the moment, and Mark came up to me, and I kind of brushed him off, which was, not a thing to do, but I was just heated. I felt like Eddie and his whole team they didn't say anything, but they rode with him when he said all that foul stuff about me, that I quit, that I wanted out, that I broke, so I felt like they're part of that. If you're riding with him and standing around him while he's screaming stuff like that, I just feel like, I don't like you so much either. So that kind of was the heat of that. But I apologize to everybody. After we got to the back, to Eddie, to Mark, to all of his other cornermen, I shouldn't have done that. That was very immature. But I was just in the heat of the moment, man. And I just had some animosity and stuff that they said, or that Eddie said in the lead up to the fight. I would never quit. I'm a fighter through and through, man.
You mentioned that many times this week about what they were saying about you and the Q word, I guess. How much of a motivation was that going into this fight? Because it was obviously on your mind because you brought it up many times this week.
I was excited that it was 5 rounds because Eddie's a blood and guts fighter, and I thought it was going to get nasty. I thought we were both going to be bleeding, and we were both going to be knocked down and have to drag it out, pick ourselves up, and come through for the W. And I was excited to go into the 4th, 5th with Eddie to show these guys that I'm about that life.
It looked like also either before or after the elbow, and even while you had him in the guillotine, he was grabbing the cage, and I think. Did you notice that?
Weird thing is, man, when I had the guillotine, he was trying to drive up my body. He stuck his finger in my ear and was pulling my head down, and the ref warned him, and then he put his finger right back in my ear. So, I mean, this is an old dog who knows a lot of tricks, and I don't want to say somebody's a dirty fighter, But first fight you need me, second fight you try to elbow me illegally, and you give me a wet willy. We gotta draw the line somewhere.
Thanks, Dustin.
Any other questions?
So Dustin, we talked about the fight next between Conor and Khabib. As this is all unfolding during the week, I know you're not going to tell us reporters what happened, but was it weighing on you at all, just with the fact that this, they were talking about this, and you have this fight on Saturday, and they're kind of, it could be a distraction.
Man, younger in my career, maybe so, but the way the sport's going and the way I grew in the sport, there's another show next week. This is cool tonight. I beat Eddie, a legend. 5-6 years ago, you do that, we talk about it for months. There's another show next week, they're gonna be talking about that fight. This is gonna be pushed back. So it's just kind of something you understand about the sport now. If you've been doing it long enough, it just has a different feel than it used to. And I don't play into all that stuff of who's fighting who or who's next in line, all that. Especially when I have a fight and I have 25 minutes with, like I said, one of the best guys in the world. Winning solves everything for me, so that's really what I'm focused on. I don't even play into, because those fights might not even happen, man.
Right. And on that same note, do you be on standby just in case something happens in that fight? Everyone, I'm sure, would agree here that you definitely deserve the next shot. If Conor's out or Khabib's out or something happens, are you prepared for that to step in on short notice?
I don't plan on getting crazy out of shape or anything like that. I'm gonna get back to the gym, work on some stuff. I have a bunch of buddies fighting in a couple months back in Louisiana, and I want to help them get ready. So I'll be around, but in a perfect world, which this is not, I would have a full camp and then have a fair shake at a title fight.
And last question, there were several times throughout the fight where it looked like it could have been ended. You had the submission hold, and then also, you're hitting him with some shots. Was there ever a point you're like, what's it going to take to finish this guy? Did that ever cross your mind at all? Just because Eddie is very durable. This was only his third TKO loss in his career.
Yeah, at the end, when he was against the fence, and I hit him with an uppercut, I hit him with a knee to the body that hurt him, and he still wouldn't go down. I'm hurting his body, I'm hurting his legs. He's already wobbled. I'm just glad that elbow landed, that finally put him down. The guy's a machine, man.
Going on that, I know you have mixed feelings about Eddie, but this was the last fight on his UFC contract. Would you be disappointed to, if this was his last UFC fight, he maybe went elsewhere? Do you want to see him stick around and be part of this weight class?
There's still a lot of fun fights. Eddie's like I said, coming into this fight, I didn't respect him because of the things he was saying after our first fight, but I'm a fan, man. I'm a fan of the guy for a long time. Back to his fights in Dream, I've been watching him and enjoying his fights. I was so excited when him and Justin Gaethje got announced. I was upset it wasn't me fighting Eddie, but I was excited for that fight because I'm a fan of the sport, man. I look forward to these guys, but only Eddie knows what's next for him. Maybe there's more money out there, better opportunities. I don't know, it's not for me to say, but I'll be watching him wherever he goes.
You expressed pre-fight that, maybe on a personal level you didn't have the most respect for him. Questionable tactics maybe tonight aside. Is that part squashed, or do you still feel that way about him as a person?
No, even though he stuck his finger in my ear tonight, man, he penetrated my ear. I still respect the guy. Now, because we spoke out back after the fight, and he said a couple things to me that, I respect the guy.
You won't share any of those things, or it's in between you?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
Just last thing, assuming Conor and Khabib 2 fight, no hiccups or anything, how do you see that one going? What do you think about that matchup? Who wins?
If it's ended in the first 2 rounds, I think Conor. If it goes past 2, I think Khabib. It's a tough one to say, but if I would bet on it, I would probably be leaning to Khabib.
So you mentioned a couple times that you were excited to be fighting Alvarez for 25 minutes. Are you surprised that it ended so quickly, ultimately?
I was excited for the opportunity. If it would have went 25 minutes, we would both be at the hospital right now, That's just the kind of fighters we are. So I knew we were both capable of finishing the fight, but just the thought of bleeding with him for 25 minutes and getting a win in the back of my head, I thought, I'm going to prove to these guys that I'm the most violent, that I can do that. And that's a title I don't want. He can have it. I give it back to him. I'm not looking forward to taking damage and doing that kind of stuff all the time. I want to have longevity.